something that so many of us struggle with. How do we handle that? If we have someone to actually handle it, now how do we maximize it? These are the things you're going to learn in this webinar today with Eric, and let's jump in. Community boosts exist to empower nonprofits like you all, and we want to see that high impact. It doesn't just matter about the numbers, it's about the mission and the work you're all doing, and how do we effectively reach more people and ensure that these services are really doing the most it can do. So I'm so excited to intro Eric in here. He has deep marketing expertise in both for-profit and nonprofit worlds, and I know that he has his whole bio ready for him, but I will say in his free time, he likes to make ceramics, surf, as you can see in this picture, read books, and do yoga. He loves nonprofits and he loves you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Eric. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Princey. That was great. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Give me a rating of your morning or your day so far. Scale of 1 to 10. Let's see some 10s in the chat. Mine's been a 10 so far. And for the 8s or the 6s out there, we're gonna bump up the energy. We'll bring it to a 10. Don't worry. I want to shout out Susie from Means Database, an accelerator member. Susie, I hope you're doing well. Just can't get enough of Community Boost. Has to hop into the webinars too. I love it. All right, well, let's dive in. We're going to talk today about how to 10x your website visitors without spending a dime on ads. One of my favorite topics, which is how to drive more awareness, and one of my favorite tools that nonprofits can use to scale website visitors and awareness and traffic. So let me make sure that my slides work. Great. So like Princey said, we're Community Boost. We do digital marketing for nonprofits. The really important thing to understand is that this presentation is kind of a culmination of everything, distillation of everything that we've learned at Community Boost over 12 years, helping hundreds of organizations with almost 100 team members, all trying to solve this one specific problem. So everything that we're talking about is not just fluff that we think makes sense. It's all tactics and strategies that are baked in reality and learned through actually executing and being practitioners. So excited to dive in. Before we do, I just want to get a pulse for the room. Can you all just maybe, I don't know if we have a poll here, and if we don't, we can just put in the chat, but let's get an understanding of kind of where your experience levels are at with the Google Ad Grant. Oh, we got a poll. Perfect. Nice. So an even split. Yeah, Jordan, I hear you and I feel you. It's definitely difficult to figure out. Awesome. Cool. So we got a relatively even split. Does anyone have it and seeing really good results? I can't remember if I saw a good answer to that on the poll, but that would be cool. Yeah, support loop. Told her account didn't qualify. Hard to maintain. All right. Well, this presentation will be helpful to everyone, both of you just getting started, even if you have it and you're trying to see better results. So I want to start with kind of a hypothetical question to get our juices flowing in the morning. What if I told you all that there's this simple way to drive thousands of new qualified website visitors to your website every single month? Would that be exciting? Give me a scale of 1 to 10. How exciting would that be? Would it be exciting at all? Thousands of new website visitors every month. Exactly. Yeah, it would be exciting. Woot. Exactly. All right. So that would be really exciting. And what if I told you that same tool, it wouldn't just get you any old website visitors to your website, right? Any tool or a lot of tools can get you a bunch of traffic. It's not just a bunch of traffic. It's actually only visitors who actually care about the problem that your organization is solving, who in this very moment want to solve the problem that you're solving and are coming to your website. How exciting would that be? Let's go. There's the energy. That would be phenomenal, right? So we're getting thousands of new website visitors, not just any old website visitors. They're actual qualified people who are excited about solving the problem that we're solving. And what if I told you again that that same tool could get you thousands of new website visitors? It could get you all of them for free. Or sorry, you could get actual qualified visitors. And it's not just a one-off opportunity like some sponsorship or a radio ad or getting an influencer to post about what your organization does. Instead, it works repeatedly, month over month over month, in perpetuity after you set it up. Would that be exciting? Right? And the answer is yes. That would be exciting. And then finally, the final piece of this puzzle, what if I told you it was 100% free, right? Not like these tools where you have to pay a bunch of money. You can get thousands of new website visitors to your month every single month who are not just any old website visitors. They're actual people who care about what you're doing. It's not a one-off tool. It happens month over month in perpetuity. And finally, it doesn't cost a single cent. It's 100% free. It's exciting, right? Worth an hour on your Thursday morning. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. That tool is the Google Ad Grant, and it's this amazing opportunity. And we're going to talk about today how to make the best use of it. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. Before we kind of dive in to how to actually make the best use of it, I want to set a little bit of context as to why we're here and why specifically we at Community Boost are even having this conversation. So the reason that we're here and that I'm here speaking right now is because we believe as an organization that it's never been harder. It's never been harder to be a nonprofit marketing team. And this comes from us talking with hundreds and hundreds of small nonprofit marketing teams. We feel like it's never been harder to be a nonprofit marketing team. And the reason for that is because A, it's harder than ever to drive results. We're in a crowded market. There's a recession, donors are aging out, and the tools that we need to use are getting more and more complicated. And at the same time, we're being asked to do more with less. We have bosses breathing down our necks, boards holding us accountable to projections who are saying we got budget cuts, we got less team, we got a boss who doesn't understand marketing. And so because of this, it really feels like it's never been harder to be a nonprofit marketing team. I just want to get a pulse. How much does this resonate with you all? Who else agrees with this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And so we're in this tough situation where it's never been harder, especially if you're a one-man band, right? And it's never been harder to be a nonprofit marketing team. And what that means is that, like we show here, it's harder than ever to drive results, and we're asked to do more with less. And because of that, we miss our goals, right? A common theme I've seen over and over. And the reason is because we're asked to achieve these harder goals with less resources. So obviously, we're not going to hit them, but because we miss them, then we get access to less resources, whether it's donors or board support or financial resources. And because of that, with less resources, it gets even harder to hit our goals. So we get even further away from our goals, which makes it harder than ever to drive results. And we're asked to do more with less, right? It's this compounding cycle. And what happens is this gap between where we are and where our goals are gets further and further and further apart. Let me know if this resonates. This comes from talking to a bunch of people in similar shoes. So this is what happens, right? This gap gets further and further apart between where we are and where our goals are. And so we need to close it. That's our job as nonprofit marketers, especially those of us who are really committed and really excited and really understand the value of learning new tactics and tools like we all are who are on the presentation in this webinar today. Our job is to close the gap. So my question to you all is, how do we do it? How do we close that gap between where we are and where our goals are? Refine our goals and expectations. Mike saying Google Ads. I help you. I will help you, Sonia. Don't worry. Get the word out. What else? Let's get some more thoughts. What do we do? How do we close this gap and reverse this trend? All right. Well, thank you to the brave souls taking guesses, hiring help, embracing new tech, target population, tell our story in a compelling way. Exactly. Yeah. Let me get back here. So my answer is awareness, really, at the end of the day. The way we close this gap for 95% of the organizations that we work with in our accelerator program is more awareness. Just how do we get more of the right people to find out about who we are, right? There's a bunch of things we can do, can tell our story in a better way, we can get more money, etc. All of that really boils down almost always to awareness. How do we get more of the right people to find out about who we are? And the reason why awareness solves all of these problems is because more awareness, more of the right people finding out about who we are, solves almost every nonprofit marketing problem that we have, right? More of the right people finding out about who we are solves almost every problem. How do we fundraise more, right? Well, the solution is if we can get more younger donors finding out about us, those people will eventually turn into long-time and major gift donors, and we'll be able to fundraise more. How do we sell more tickets? More new patrons buying tickets from us and having a great experience telling their friends, right? How do we get more volunteers? More awesome people finding out about our volunteer opportunities. How do we secure grant funding? Well, we need funders to learn about what we're doing in the first place before they write any checks. How do we spread our message? More people seeing our message, right? How do we recruit more great employees? Same thing. We just need employees to see our job postings in the first place and get in front of them. So really, when we look at this gap, how do we close it? The solution is awareness, which is more of the right people finding out about who we are, right? And we all know this to be true, which is likely why we're on this presentation in the first place. It's why we're focused on continuing to get better and more effective in nonprofit marketing. But the problem is, how do we actually do it? How do we grow awareness? It's easier said than done, right? Show me how. And it's hard. And it's especially hard because what used to work from a nonprofit marketing perspective is just not working anymore, right? Let's see in the chat, actually, for all of you that are focused on driving more awareness for your organizations, what are you doing right now? Content, social media, social media, social media, social media, social media, newsletter, social media, right? This is what I'm hearing from everyone, social media. And now let me ask you another question. Is social media working for you? Are you growing awareness at the rate that you want to through posting on organic social? Not much, slightly. Paid ads are working, yep. Random, not really. Facebook sure isn't very slowly, right? Exactly. So, you are not alone. We see this with almost every single organization that we work with. If you look at this graph on the right, it shows it. And this is why. Your social media are platforms, right? So Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok are all platforms. Users join the app, they post content, and then the app shows the content to consumers of the content. And then you can pay for ads to show up as well. And the platforms all go through a life cycle. When they start, it's a really early platform. They have a lot of users and not enough content. So if you create content, you'll be able to get a bunch of organic reach and reach new people, the people that you're looking to get in front of. But as the platforms mature, people understand that it's an opportunity to get more reach. More people are posting content, and it gets harder and harder for your content to show up. And at the same time, the platform wants to get paid because Facebook and Instagram want to make money. So because of that, what do? They throttle your organic reach. They make it harder for you to reach new people. This might resonate. If you have a Facebook page, they make it so your posts don't even reach all of your followers, right? And they tell you, now you need to pay to play. You need to pay through paid ads in order to reach even all of your followers, but all of your audiences, right? So that's what happens. And this data backs it up. Over the last 12 years, Facebook organic reach has fallen off a cliff. All of the people that I'm talking to right now are saying, hey, I'm putting posts out on organic social on Facebook. It's not even reaching all of my followers, let alone reaching brand new people, right? Same thing with Instagram. Short form video is one of the only opportunities, but it's so hard and time consuming to do that right, especially for us with limited bandwidth, right? So organic social doesn't work. That reach is no one. Organic reach is falling off a cliff. I didn't see many people mention SEO, but SEO is getting harder and harder and harder because more companies are creating AI generated content and starting to rank for these other keywords. Um, and email is getting harder and harder, right? Email open rates are decreasing every month because people's inboxes are getting more and more crowded from other people utilizing email. So we're in this place where the thing we need to do to grow is to scale awareness. That's the way we close the gap. But everything that used to work in the past isn't working anymore, which is why we feel like it's never been harder to be a nonprofit marketer, because it has never been harder. The same stuff that used to work isn't working anymore. Um, and so we're really living in this world right now. If we want to grow awareness, the only way is to pay for ads, right? And you guys know this. If you look in the chat, the people who are saying that what's working for them is paid ads, because paid ads is what's working, right? But ads are expensive. So the question I have for you all is, how do we grow awareness without spending money on ads? Is it even possible? Is that a crazy question? It sounds crazy. I know. You are all right. We got some smart people in the chat. It's a Google ad grant, right? So um, the answer is really, it's almost impossible. But Google is an amazing organization, and they are really nice to us. And they came up with this thing called the Google ad grant, which is they gave us $10,000 a month of free ad spend that we can use on Google to reach new people and to scale awareness. Literally $10,000 a month of free ad spend that we can use. It's an incredible opportunity that I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity to leverage, especially when we're looking at this environment, which is we can't really do anything to grow except for spending money on ads. Without this, we would have had to spend literally thousands of dollars out of our own pocket to grow, but Google's giving it to us absolutely for free. And that's what the Google Ad Grant is. I'll go through really quickly, just like some explanations. So bear with me if you're already familiar, but this is how Google Ads work. Basically, someone searches a keyword in the search bar, right? So someone might search ocean conservation nonprofits to volunteer with in San Diego, right? And then they get results. They get results for that keyword, and Google's job is to show you results that give you what you're looking for, right? So if I'm looking for ocean conservation nonprofits to volunteer with in San Diego, Google's going to give me results. Now the results are broken up into two different types of results. Down here are organic results. So it's people who have made websites, and they put content on the websites, and they've let Google look at your website, essentially. And then when Google thinks that Ocean Connectors has the right solution for what I'm looking for, it'll put it up as a result. And it'll sort these results by how likely they think the results are to be what you're looking for. These are organic results, right? So SEO is the process of optimizing your website to show up here. Like I said, harder than ever before. And you get free traffic if people are searching this thing and you show up for them, right? But Google is one of these platforms, just like Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and they need to make money. So they created ads, and ads are these sponsored posts at the top here. You can see it says sponsored. And these are ads. So Plastic Tides is paying to show up above the organic results when people are searching for these keywords, ocean conservation nonprofits to volunteer with in San Diego. And because of that, they get clicks. And they get clicks because, they get clicks because I'll ask you guys a question. What's the best place to hide a dead body? Who has thoughts in the chat? Can we get a little drum roll? The best place to hide a dead body is on the second page of Google. I'm sorry. There we go, Ben. Let's go. If this is the summit, we'd give you a t-shirt. It's the second page of Google. And the reason why is you guys use Google. When have you gone to the second page of Google? When have you even gone below the first few search results, right? So what ads do is they allow you to show up above the other search results. They allow you to get more clicks. And they're not just more clicks, right? These are people who are searching for these keywords that are incredibly relevant to your organization. So if someone's searching for ocean conservation nonprofits to volunteer with in San Diego, that's a real person searching for that. You can show up for them. You can earn their click. You can capture their email on your website. That can become a new supporter who's telling their friends about your organization, who's creating content you can share, who's donating money, who you never would have gotten in front of if you weren't able to pay with free money for an ad that's showing up on the top of the Google search engine results page, right? So that's why Google ads are so powerful. That's why the Google algorithm is so powerful. Make sense? Let me know if it doesn't make sense. So that's kind of what the Google Ad Grant is, right? And you get $10,000 a month of ad spend that you can use to show up ahead of all of these search results, right? And what happens when you do that is you can materially change how much awareness and results your organization is getting in a very short amount of time. So some examples of organizations that we've worked with, right? We worked with the San Diego Foundation. They wanted to get donor advised fund leads. I don't know, you guys are probably familiar, but a donor advised fund costs $25,000 to open. And they were able to get 6 applications within 2 months. And they were able to increase traffic over 200% for free with this free Google Ad Grant, right? Even with competitive search terms in the local environment. Rivers of Steel is another great example. They have these landmark tours, Carpal Cinema Rivermark tours, all these awesome experiences, but they were struggling. They were like, we're a best kept secret in our local environment. We aren't able to get enough people to come to our tours. Let's go, Molly. Awesome. And in the first 30 days, we were able to spend $8,100 of their ad grant, get 3,100 clicks and 176 conversions to their website. And then we were able to increase those by 47 to 124%, respectively. 3,100 new clicks to their website, people in their environment searching for keywords that are relevant to them, right? Insane. Skid Row Housing Trust is another great example. They had this career fair they wanted to highlight. They were able to get in front of 156,000 individuals over the 5-month timeline. So those are great examples. And we have like hundreds and hundreds more. If you go to communityboost.org/case studies, you'll be able to see all the case studies. But the point is that it can materially change the future of your organization if you can get this right and you can get all the traffic coming in. And we have so many that they don't even fit on one page, right? It's what we've built our organization on. So if you haven't, so that's why it's so powerful, right? And it's an incredibly powerful tool, but the challenge is it can be tricky to figure out, right? As some of you have been saying already, it's a complicated tool and it's tough, right? Put in the chat if you've been frustrated trying to figure out the Google Ad Grant and make it work for you, right? So it's really difficult to figure out. Luckily, that's what we're here for. That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to cover first the 5 mistakes that nonprofit marketers make when trying to maximize the Google Ad Grants and how to overcome those, examples of organizations avoiding these, and then we're going to talk about a special opportunity where we'll be able to help you see similar results. So you guys know about Community Boost already. We've been doing this for 12 plus years. This is a picture of our CEO 12 years ago at an event with Google, talking about this Google Ad Grant, banging the same drum. We're invited to events with Google all the time. We have a partnership with one of their certified professional partners, right? And we've done this for a bunch of organizations. All to say that we know what we're doing with this specifically, not with with everything, but with the Google Ad Grant, we're confident that we can help. And really what we do as an organization is we help nonprofits move from the left side of this screen to the right, which is, put in the chat if you feel like you're on the left side of the screen now, which is you're trying to get from where you are to your destination. Your destination is utilizing this ad grant effectively, but you're stuck. You're spending countless hours Google Ad Grant tips, trying to talk to support's not talking to you. Maybe you bought a $200 course and it's bad, to use polite language, and it wasn't helpful. And then you're banging your head up against the wall trying to set up your Ad Grant account, trying to set up conversions, and then in reality, you're losing thousands of dollars in opportunity cost of unused spend that you could be using better, right? We talk to so many organizations on this side, and what we do is we help them move to the right-hand side of this page, which is following a step-by-step process, avoiding potholes, and getting there, right? And the reason so many organizations feel like they're on the left-hand side is because they're making these same 5 mistakes, over and over. And we see this from talking to hundreds of different organizations. And the 5 mistakes, which we're going to go into, are: number one, no search volume, running ads to where there's no search volume or inherent demand. Second is no concrete plan. The third is the wrong account structure. The fourth is ineffective conversion tracking. And then the fifth is optimizing for spend over results. So let's dive in. Mistake number one, no search volume. This is a very common one, right? When you're getting started and you want to maximize your Google Ad Grant, the first thing you have to do is understand if people are actually searching terms in Google and there's enough search traffic. The wrong way to get started with your Google Ad Grant is, hey, I heard this thing's great. Let's jump in right now. Let's start paying an agency $2,000 a month to get ours and start spending it. I'm excited. Let's do it, right? I watched this presentation with Eric. It was amazing. That is not the right way to get started. And the reason why is because you need to understand search volume. And what search volume is just how many people are searching for the keywords that you'll be able to show up for, right? And so if you think of the Google Ad Grant and Google in general as a bunch of fish going down a river, and those are your potential supporters, and you're using Google Ads to fish for those supporters, right? By dangling an ad in front of them, and when they click the ad, you get the fish. You only want to do that if the river has fish in it, right? And unfortunately, there are some situations where the river doesn't have any fish, and you're fishing in a river with no fish in it, right? So if you're trying to run, the place we see this most commonly is really hyper local, hyper targeted, where you have a really small audience. Say you're in a really remote place, and you're trying to run ads, but there's only a couple thousand people in the audience you want to reach, and you need those people to search for ocean conservation nonprofits near me to donate to. You're just not going to have enough people searching to be able to show up in front of them, which definitely doesn't justify paying an agency a bunch of money to run it for you. It might justify learning to do it yourself, because over the span of time that you're running the ad grant, it'll pay for itself. But either way, you need to understand search volume before you dive in. And so the way to do that is really simple. 3 steps. First, you go to Google Keyword Planner, which is a free tool Google gives us to show us exactly how many fish are in this river. You search the relevant keywords that you'd want to show up for, and then you see if there's any traffic. That's it. You don't have to go super in depth. You just need to understand that there's enough traffic to ballpark, back the napkin math, make this feel like it makes sense, right? And it's really simple. You just go to Google Keyword Planner, which you can Google, just Google Keyword Planner, and then you'll see these keywords, and you'll see the average monthly searches. And you just want to make sure that there's enough that it would be valuable to you, right? You're like, well, if I could get in front of this many people, yeah, that'd be worth it. And if there's almost none, then maybe you have to think of a different tool or strategy to get in front of people. And maybe this won't make sense for you, right? So simple as that. Don't jump straight in and start to run ads. Instead, before you talk to someone, make sure that there's enough search volume with Google Keyword Planner, right? Make sense? Sweet. Some questions in the chat. Norma, how much traffic is enough? How to determine? That just depends on how valuable these people are. So you can assume if someone's searching for best nonprofits to donate to near me, and you can show up in front of them, you barely need any, right? But if it's a broader keyword, maybe you need more. So it just depends on what your goals are, how valuable those people are. Let me know if that answers it. And Kristen said, difference between Google Keyword Planner and Google Search Trends. You want to use Google Keyword Planner because it shows you these numbers, your monthly searches, down to the specific keyword. Trends is a little bigger. or broader, sorry. And then, yeah, Krista, good question. If you don't mind putting that in the Q&A, we can hit it at the end. It's going to warrant a little bit of a longer um, explanation, but great question. I love it. Okay, so that's the first, right? No search volume. Don't jump straight in. Please don't jump straight in. Instead, make sure that there's search volume Google Keyword Planner, right? Once you've done that, the second mistake we see people make over and over and over again is no concrete plan. No concrete plan. All right, we got the grant. Let's start building ads. Let's get in there. Let's start clicking buttons, right? That is the wrong way to do it. And the reason that's the wrong way is because failing to plan is planning to fail, which is not my quote. It's a quote I found somewhere else. But without a plan, you can end up building a house without a blueprint. And even though it feels like it's faster just to jump in and start driving traffic, it's actually way faster to just take the time to build a plan first. Because what happens when you build a house without a blueprint is it looks like this. You have a balcony on the side of a wall, right? Which is not good. So you don't want to end up building a house without a blueprint. You want to clearly understand exactly what you're doing and why and how it all fits together before you're clicking buttons. So that when you click buttons, you have to click less buttons and you can do it faster. And so the way to do that is to just create a really simple Google Ad Grants plan. So this is from our That's great. Ksenia. Agreed. Hey, that's your choice. If you want to build this house, that's what you're looking to do, then you can. But the way to avoid the situation and get to your destination faster and with less wrong turns is to just build out a simple plan. So we have this plan template that we walk through in our Google Ad Grant Accelerator program, and we help organizations build this with them. And if you email me, actually, I'll send it to you. But the point being, you just want to lay out in the plan, and what you really want to do is lay out your different campaigns. And your campaigns are broken out by goal and by landing page, right? So branding, awareness, fundraising, events are all different goals that you're looking to achieve. And then you want to break those out by the different landing page. And what that does is helps you understand how you're going to structure your account and everything so that you can, when you're building campaigns, ad groups, and ads, you build them right the first time, right? So that's the second mistake, right? Please do not build without a blueprint and just jump straight in. Instead, you build a simple one-page plan. Email me and I'll send you the plan. Make sense? We got no search volume, no concrete plan. What's mistake number 3? Mistake number 3 is having the wrong account structure. So after you've understood that the background will work for you and after you've built a good plan, now it's time to actually build your ads. And what we see over and over again, which is a huge mistake, is, hey, I just threw in a bunch of keywords as much as I could find. I went into Keyword Planner. I just threw them all in there. We should start to show up for all of them. I'm excited. I think it'll start to work, right? Again, this is the wrong way. Do not build your ad grant this way. And the reason for this is because your number one goal as an ad grant practitioner always needs to be, I want to give searchers exactly what they're looking for. And the reason for that, I'm going to repeat that. I want to give searchers exactly what they're looking for. And the reason for that is because there's lots of competition in Google. There are other people bidding for similar keywords. There are other people trying to show up for organic results. And your potential supporters do not care who you are. They just care about who is most likely to give them what they're looking for. And so they're going to click on the most relevant search result, right? If someone's searching for ocean conservation nonprofits to volunteer with in San Diego, and there's 2 different nonprofits, but one in the ad, it says ocean conservation nonprofits to volunteer with, and the other one just says San Diego volunteer, I'm likely going to click the one that says ocean conservation nonprofits, right? So there's lots of competition. We need to focus on giving people exactly what they're looking for. And the way people do this wrong is when you look at your keywords and your ad groups. An ad group is just a bucket of keywords that you'll show the same ad to every time. You want to make sure that they're really tightly grouped and relevant. So, an example of this is with one of the organizations that we worked with. Again, in our accelerator program, we actually do this all for you. We create all your keyword research for you because it's such an important piece of the puzzle. But this is for an organization that's running ads for these types of keywords. So, women's rights keywords, women empowerment keywords, youth development keywords. They do all of these things. And what we see a lot of people do wrong is they might throw youth development nonprofits and women's rights charities in the same ad group. And what that means is you're showing the same ad to that person. And what that means is for the ad to be relevant, the ad has to say something like the name of the organization or, a broader word. I can't even think of one that would work. But if you're running an ad that's talking about their youth development programs to someone searching for women's rights charities, they're not going to click on that ad. They're going to click to a different one, which is why you want to group your keywords together in these really tight ad groups, right? The women's rights ad groups, all of these keywords are related to women's rights. So when the ad talks about women's rights, it's incredibly relevant to the person and you earn the click, right? Woman empowerment, female empowerment, youth development, right? So that is why you want to make sure to tightly group all your keywords together. So do not throw your keywords in your account willy-nilly. Instead, structure them in a really tight, relevant ad groups. Make sense? Let me know if it doesn't make sense. We got Lindsay's question. Yeah, we usually recommend landing page linking out to the microsite. Sometimes it depends, but it's nice for people to be able to click out and see the rest of your website. And also sometimes it can have concerns with setting ads to a secondary domain in Google. All right, so those are the first two. What's the fourth mistake? Ineffective conversion tracking. The wrong way here. Hey, Eric, I don't know. I got stuck. Setting up conversion tracking was just too complicated, so I just had to run ads without goals or conversions. I think that'll work. Or I set up conversion tracking. It's just like inaccurate, but that should be fine. It should work. Okay. That is the wrong way. And the reason, well, before I talk about the reason, I'll talk about the value of doing conversion tracking. So we had a member in our Google Ad Grant Accelerator. They joined. They had the ad grant for months. They were spending like $10, $15 a month, right? And they were approaching it this way. They were like, I'm not going to set up conversion tracking. I don't need it, whatever, right? All we did, we made a couple small tweaks to their keyword groupings. All we did was set up conversion tracking effectively for them. And they went to spending the full $10K a month. Within a month, all we did was set up conversion tracking. So this works. It's really important to get conversion tracking in Google set up properly. And the reason for that is because conversions are Google's yardstick for quality, right? So if you think of, from Google's perspective, their goal is to give searchers exactly what they're looking for, right? Which is why it's our job to give our searchers exactly what they're looking for, because that keeps people on Google. And so Google is choosing between ads to show its supporters, right? And you can either be ad one or ad two. Ad one is Google says, oh, people click on this ad and then they take the desired action that the advertiser wants them to take, which means that the advertiser gave them what they're looking for. Or ad two, people click on that ad and they don't take the desired action that the advertiser wants them to take, which means it was a bad experience for the user. The user clicked on an ad and then they ended up not taking the action. Which ad is Google going to choose? It's going to choose ad one every single time, right? Because this is the ad that people are that's actually getting people to take the action that the advertiser wants them to take, which means that it's a more effective ad at giving people what they're looking for. So that's why conversion tracking is important. And you need to do it properly. And the reasons why: it helps you spend more of your ad grant, first of all. When you have, this is a little bit more technical, but when you have conversion tracking set up properly, you can go above the bid limits if Google thinks that it's a high quality ad that's likely to give people what they're looking for. It helps you go after higher quality keywords. And then on the other side of the house, it helps you actually learn what ads are actually driving results, right? So it's a very common pitfall to run Google Ads, get a bunch of traffic, be happy with the traffic without seeing the results. This actually helps you track the full marketing funnel to measure what actually matters. And then at the end of the day, measure marketing's effectiveness so you can prove it to leadership, you can get more buy-in, and you can continue to drive awesome results. So that's why conversion tracking is so important. Please do not, whatever you do, run ads without conversion tracking. Instead, set up GA4 and proper conversion tracking so that you can close that loop, so that you can get your ads to work better. We highly recommend using Google Tag Manager, Jacqueline. You don't need it, but we highly recommend it, especially if you're doing any sort of conversion tracking with other marketing channels. All right, and then number 5, the final mistake. After we've done all this, we've done all these right, we see some people who have done all this right and they're still making a massive mistake, and that mistake is optimizing for spend instead of results. And you might have an agency who's doing this, who's saying, woo, good job, we're spending the full $10,000 a month. Awesome, we're so happy. Great success, right? It's free money. So I want to be clear, this isn't bad. Like it is good for your organization if you're spending the full $10,000 and getting awareness to your website. But spend is an input. It's not the end goal. You're spending money to get a result, to get to an outcome, to get to a destination. So if we're just celebrating how much money we're spending, it's like driving in a car and saying, woohoo, I've used so much gas, right? You don't celebrate gas consumed. You celebrate if and how quickly you got to your destination, right? So it's important. Total spend is important. It's an input. But what's more important is what that spend is getting you. And I just want to be clear that it's really important to be wary of that trap of thinking that just because you're spending the $10,000 a month, it can't get better. Especially if it's coming from an agency partner. It's something to always push back on. Because sometimes we work with people, we know we can get you to spend the full $10,000 a month, but it actually makes way more sense to spend less and to drive more results from spending less, right? So it's just important to understand that it's a trap that you can fall into, and not to celebrate spend, but to celebrate results that you're driving from the spend. So don't optimize for and celebrate dollars spent. Instead, set clear outcome-based goals and optimize for those. So those are the 5 mistakes, right? These simple 5 mistakes and how to overcome them: no search volume, no concrete plan, wrong account structure, ineffective conversion tracking, and optimizing for spend instead of results. There's a better way to do it. To avoid these, just remember to scale your Google ad grant. Scale. S, make sure there's search traffic. C, make sure there's a concrete plan. Make sure your account is structured properly. Make sure you're linked to conversions, and make sure you have an emphasis on spend, not results. Screenshot this slide, write it down. This is the meat. This is the takeaway of the whole presentation. So I'll give you guys a second. Oops. How was that? Was that helpful to people? Are we going to avoid these mistakes now? Yes, yes, awesome. Okay, good. Because once you're on this journey and once you're scaling your ad grant more effectively, you're going to drive better results, right? Like Kids Spark Education, who were able to sell 14 other paid programs, get 100 plus new leads within the first month of having the Google ad grant, right? Southern Environmental Law Center, able to get, this was in the first couple months with the omni-channel campaign, but they were able to spend just under 40K of the Google ad grant, raise $20,000 and get over 8,000 clicks of new donors, right? Arizona Science Center, awesome museum, able to get 20,000 new website visitors, sell 3,500 tickets at a 3.3x return on ad spend, zero breast cancer, able to increase overall site traffic 100% increase in overall site traffic, right? Cal Shakes, a theater with a multi-channel approach, they're able to sell $66,000 in tickets. This is through a multi-channel approach. So it works, right? The playbook works. Scaling your Google is the fastest way for us to hit our awareness goals. We need to do this. Put in the chat if this is what you're thinking right now. If you're thinking this, we need to do this. I would love to. We need to get this going, right? And at the same time, you're probably saying, okay, Eric, I believe it works and it would work for me, but I'm still super lost. Your presentation was helpful. It was clearly presented. You had cool pictures and metaphors and analogies and stuff. But like we didn't get into the details of how to actually do this. And honestly, I need a lot of people. I need someone to do a lot of this stuff for me. The stuff where I really get stuck, right? And I wish I could pay an agency to do it, but I don't have $2,000 a month to pay an agency to do it for me, right? Who's thinking this? Put in the chat if you're thinking this. Yep. Makes sense. So I know you're thinking this because I've talked to so many different nonprofit marketers in your same shoes, right? And through those conversations over and over again, we've just seen this happen over and over and over again, right? And so we decided to make a solution to this, which is a simpler way to help you maximize your Google Ad grant. And really what we found was that, some people are in similar shoes where we want to maximize our Google Ad grant. We want to do it, but our options are kind of not great, right? We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And we're stuck between webinars like this and cheap online courses that give us broad advice that is helpful to a degree, but doesn't give us exactly what we're looking for. Or there's lack of expertise and they're out-of-date videos. Also, the problem with these type of free resources is there's zero support, so I can't get any questions answered. And then finally, the advice is too broad, right? It's not specific enough at all to be helpful. It's just this super broad, like this is kind of what to do with Google algorithms, etc., but it's not specific enough to drive results, and we need to be specific and accurate to get results. And the other option is to pay $2,000 a month for an agency, which is just too expensive, but it works if you have the budget and the potential outcome. Who's felt like they've been in these shoes? Like they feel like this, which is I believe it works. I want help, but also I feel like I don't have any good options to help me get this done. 100%. Yep. So if you have been in these shoes, this is the exact reason that we've created our Google Ad Grant Accelerator program. We've talked to so many people who were stuck between these two places and just weren't seeing results. And so what we did was we created this program, which sits in the middle of these two options. It gives you the quality of results that you get from an agency for a fraction of the price. It's much closer to the price of an online course. And we're able to teach you how to do it on your own so you can bring the expertise in-house. It's a 90-day coaching program where you get access to our team of experts, and we help you step-by-step do three things. We help you build your ad grants plan, apply, get approved for the ad grant, set your strategic campaign priorities, and then we actually do all of your nitty-gritty campaign research, keyword research for you and give it to you. Then we help you build your ad grant account through one-on-one coaching, step-by-step videos, and live coaching calls. And then finally, we help you scale it. So we help you maximize for output, not input. We help you start to spend it, etc. It's this 90-day program. We launched it with our first cohort. So our first cohort we ran in October. We had 10 organizations go through it. Guess how many of the 10 we got to spend above $2,500 a month of their ad grant within the first 90 days? Give me a guess. All right, guys. high standards. You know how hard it is to spend that much within 90 days? We got 8 out of the 10 to spend the full 2,500, and the other 2 were still working to do it and are looking really good. They're almost there, right? So it works. This program really works, and it's an awesome way to do it. We're so confident that we have 100% money back guarantee for the first 30 days if you join and it's not what you were expecting and looking for. So I would definitely encourage, if any of you are feeling like this and you want that one-on-one support and this sounds exciting, apply now. You can do it through this QR code or at our website. We're running a special cohort for the program for a nonprofit marketing summit. That was the beginning of March. So the cohort does end at the end of the month. If you want to join before the cohort ends, just shoot me an email. I'll put my email again. And we can try to squeeze you in beforehand. But if not, have a conversation with our team. The next cohort starts in April, so it's right after it. The issue is the price is going up in April. Shoot me an email if you want to get in before. The program is ranges a little bit depending on exactly what your needs are, but it's going to be around $24.95 for the 90 days. The price is going up to $29.95 in April. So if you want to get in before that, shoot me an email with your application and we can kind of try to get it fast tracked. I know it's moving quick, but if not, it's still a great opportunity to scale your ad grant in April. So definitely apply. If you haven't had a chance, you'll get a call with one of our experts and we'll actually walk through your ad grant with you and help you make the most of it. So that is it. Who's excited to join our accelerator program? Anyone interested? Put in the chat. If not, let's get to questions.
Thanks so much, Eric, and thanks everyone for joining. As Eric said, we do have Q&A time scheduled out here, so feel free to put it in the chat section. There's a Q&A option there, and I'm just going to put some here on the screen for you, Eric. Let me know if you see them. So how are you defining conversions? Is it just clicks on the org's website or actual clicks to donate?
Oh, that must have been from one of our case studies, I'm assuming.
Yes, I think it was around that time.
I actually need to double check on that. I think this was for, let's see, so many slides. It must have been this one, I think, Rivers of Steel. So yeah, they had a bunch of different conversions because it was for landmark tours, corporal cinema, river boat tours, etc. I think most of the conversions here were tour signups. I think there were just so many different tours that I think we just lumped them all together as conversions. There may have been some donations in there too.
Awesome. And then I have another question. It was from Krista before, and I've just tagged it in here. My colleagues think Google ad grants aren't worth the effort because paid ads can always outbid us. I'm sure it depends on what you're selling, but is this true?
Yeah, that's really fair. For everyone else, the way Google Ads work is there's a cap on how much you can bid on certain keywords. But if you can set up your ad grant account properly, you can go above that cap and you can bid on more expensive keywords. So I actually can't give you a good answer without understanding more details. If you want to reach out to our team, we can help you answer that. Generally, and the reason why is because I need to see what your keywords are and how your account's structured and all that stuff. Generally, though, it's $10,000 a month of potential ad spend that you can use to get more awareness to your organization. And so it may not be worth paying an agency a lot of money month over month to do. It may also definitely be worth that, depending. But it's way easier to justify the effort when you think about it on a long time horizon. Even if you're able to spend a couple grand a month, you're getting a couple hundred new people to your site every month who are potential supporters, right? So it depends. If you want to reach out, we can help you answer that question with more accuracy. But in general, I'd put my money with it being worth it. even if you can't bid on the really expensive keywords. And likely you might be able to show up in front of some of them further along. So that
Awesome.
makes sense.
I have another question here. How is conversion defined when nonprofits don't have a clear conversion? How do you track or measure awareness?
Can I ask a clarifying question, Anjana?
Right.
Maybe like, what do you mean by don't have a clear conversion?
Let's see if Anja is they're still online. Um, if you can clarify in the chat, feel free. We see the chat. But until then, I can also move into another question if that's okay, Eric.
Yeah, I think I need to know the answer to that to answer this.
Sure,
So
sure.
here we go.
I'll move into another question.
Oh, sorry. She said she answered.
Oh,
She said we don't have sales per se. I mean, basically, like the way conversion tracking works is you can track. Yeah, if you want to just track awareness, then you can just look at page views, and then you can look at time on site. You can look at people giving you their emails, um, people clicking onto certain pages or programs. So those are all considered conversions through conversion tracking, uh, and like through GTM and GA4. So you can track all of those things, even if you're not tracking donations or volunteer form submissions or something similar.
awesome. And I love this question. We are a medical nonprofit, Poison Control. We need to be able to maintain harmful products and substances, some illegal, in our Google ads. We get permission from Google time after time, only for that permission to go away and our ads be flagged. So we rinse and repeat. Is there a way to get permanent permission to mention these substances in our ads?
I wish. No. Yeah, I mean, we yeah, this is a frustrating aspect of Google Ads. Is this piece and getting approvals over and over again? We're Google certified professional partners, and so we have sometimes like preferred support treatment where we can get access to a different support line, and even for us, it's difficult, and they flip flop on like rulings on stuff. So
Mhm.
you're doing it the right way. Just continue to rinse and repeat, and unfortunately, it comes with the territory. So I wish I had a different answer, but I don't.
Well, that's where people like Eric and our team could definitely help. So you don't have to do the rinsing and repeating, but there's
Yeah.
support from Community Boost. I have one more question here. I am the marketing director and grant writer for our nonprofit. Oh, who else is doing that? And we took a look at this grant a while back. What are the requirements to keep the grant? What numbers do we have to hit monthly to keep getting it?
Yeah, great question. There are a couple differences with the Google Ad Grant and other grants that we see come up sometimes. Um, the first is like how long it takes to get it. The Google Ad Grant takes like 7 to 14 days to get it. It's super quick. The application process is like 30 minutes or less. It's really, really simple. That's the first piece. The second is the like reporting requirements of keeping it. You do have eligibility requirements for the Google Ad Grant. To as put it as simply as possible, they are just like I said earlier, Google cares about having a great customer experience and people who are searching getting what they're looking for. And the way they measure that is click through rate and conversion rate, which is basically how many people are clicking your ads, which means that they think it's what they're looking for, and then how many people of those are staying on your site for a while, or how many are taking the key action they want to take. So you have thresholds for those, and I'll put the link in the chat to the actual eligibility requirements. But as long as you keep those within the proper thresholds, then you maintain eligible. You stay eligible for the Google Ad Grant. If you fall out of eligibility, it's totally fine. You just need to fix some things, and then you'll get your ad grant back. It's not like it'll get yanked away from you. So, not really something to worry about until you're starting to spend. Um, but if you want, here's the link to the eligibility requirements.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the time we have for questions, and I'm so glad that there are so many other answers in here. But as Eric said, he put his email in the chat. It's his real email. It's not going to a bot or anything like that. So be sure to reach out. And for anyone who asked about getting the recording, as long as you're registered for this webinar, you get the recording, you'll get the slides. We don't want to spam you. We want to make sure you're getting all the information you need. We'll also send out that template if you email Eric. And yeah, thank you so much for spending your time and energy with us. And thank you, Eric, for sharing all this information and helping these folks get their Google Ad grants started or up and running or maintained. So
Thank
thank you
you.
guys. We appreciate you.
Can I ask you for some feedback? Give me a what would you rate this session? Scale of one
Oh
to 10.
yeah, let's get some ratings here.
And thank you all for taking the time. I really appreciate it.